Hi everybody, it's Stephanie. I have been obsessed with playing Candy Crush lately, so today I'm going to show you all how to make this 3D gravity-defying candy crushing cake. This one turned out so cute and fun. Let's get started. For the lemon drop, I have baked a half sphere in a couple of 6-inch round cakes. The color bomb is 2 6-inch half spheres, and I wasn't quite sure what to make for the jelly bean, so I have 2 8-inch round cakes. And then all the cakes get leveled and torted. I want to carve the cakes just a bit more before I move on, so let's look at my lemon cakes. The bottom looks good and rounded, but I need to carve the top into more of a point, so let's carve off some cakes so that the top tapers up to a point. Okay, let's stack the lemon cakes up and see how we're doing. That looks pretty good to me. For my jelly bean, I held up a photo of it and I trimmed the sides. I only need the top of the jelly bean for this because the rest will be a Rice Krispie treat. This is going to be difficult, but try not to eat those cake scraps that you cut off the cake because we're going to need those for later. And my husband always sneaks in to try to steal those little bits of cake. He's very sneaky like that. When I put the cake onto the structure, I cut a slit in it so I can easily slide it onto the structure. And then after that, I finished layering up the lemon cakes, alternating with American buttercream. Same process for the chocolate color bomb. Stack up the cakes onto the structure, alternating with layers of buttercream. The only thing different here is that I'm leaving off the very bottom of the half sphere cake. So we don't really need that part. We're going to fill that in later. Also, stack the jelly bean cake onto the top cake board. Out of all 3 of these cakes, the lemon cake was my favorite flavor, so I will put that recipe in the description box for you guys. Let's carve it. Hold the lemon drop photo up to the cake and use it as a guide for carving. You don't want to rush through this part, just cut off a little at a time. If you feel like you cut off too much cake or you need to put some back in a certain area, this is where you're going to use those cake scraps from earlier. So just mix that with a little bit of buttercream frosting to make a cake pop filling. And then you can use that to fill in any areas. I used it on the top of the lemon drop and also on top of the jelly bean. If you make a lot of 3D cakes, you'll know that we also like to use Rice Krispie treats to fill in areas or to make parts that are too hard to make with cake. For this cake, I made Rice Krispie treats with Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. I like to make extra Rice Krispie treats so when my kids get home from school, they get a special treat. I think I've told you guys this before, but in case you missed it, the way to get rice cereal treats to stick to the structure is with melted marshmallows. And then I stuck the rice cereal treats up under the jelly beans board, kind of randomly guessing how it should look, and then I wrapped it up in plastic wrap to set up. For the chocolate color bomb, spray your hands in half sphere pan with cooking spray, and then fill the bottom of the pan with the cereal treats. Once it is set up, you can then pull it out, trim it as needed, and then stick it up underneath the chocolate cake. I'm pretty happy with the cakes at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and cover them in white chocolate ganache and chocolate ganache. If you prefer covering them in buttercream, that will also work. Just use whatever you like working with. I'm giving them a second coat of ganache and then I work on smoothing those out. The modeling chocolate I'm using today is made by Chocopan. I really love this brand. I started out with 2 bright whites and 1 deep brown, but I ended up needing an extra bright white. So go ahead and get 3 whites and 1 brown just to be safe. The white modeling chocolate is called bright white, but actually it's off-white. So to color modeling chocolate, you use food color gels just like you would with fondant. When I'm rolling it out, I like to rotate it to make sure it's not sticking to my countertop and also to make sure I've rolled it out evenly. Spray the cake with water and begin covering the cake in modeling chocolate. Trim off the excess with kitchen scissors and then try to blend those seams with modeling tools the best you can. To give the jelly bean its stripes, I'm cutting out strips of red modeling chocolate with my pastry wheel and I attach those to the jelly bean. When I'm covering the chocolate color bomb, I'm doing something slightly different by covering it in a front panel and then a back panel, and then I blend out those seams on the sides. It's completely okay if it's not perfect because we're also going to cover this one in giant sprinkles. I'm making the giant sprinkles out of colored modeling chocolate and then I stick those onto the cake with some piping gel. A better idea would be to use real candies on this part. So you could use gumballs or jawbreakers or whatever type of round candy that you can find. Kids always love seeing real candy on the cake. The lemon drop gets covered in panels of modeling chocolate just like the color bomb. So if you look at a picture of the lemon drop, it looks like there's a trim around it. I can't get the trim to look right on the bottom of the cake, but let's at least get it on the sides by adding a triangular strip of modeling chocolate. I'm also dusting the middle of the cake and the outer trim with luster dust to give it a glowy look. So I was trying to think of a way to cover my board in a unique way, and then I remembered my giant collection of sprinkles. So to do this, just spread a thin layer of royal icing on the board and then cover it in all your extra sprinkles. I know you guys have a huge collection of those like I do. I cannot finish this cake without adding a shiny glaze. To make the glaze, I'm combining a tablespoon of corn syrup and a tablespoon of vodka. If you don't like using vodka, you could also use a lemon extract. What happens here is when you brush it on the cake, the alcohol evaporates and leaves behind the beautiful shine. One drawback is that it seizes up if you use too much. I just kind of go into it knowing it will probably seize up on me. I just really love the shine, so I don't mind. My Candy Crush cake is complete. I really love how this cake turned out. I think it looks just like the real candies in the Candy Crush game. Have you ever played Candy Crush before? I'm on level 310. What level are you on? If you like video game themed cakes and would like to see more, I made an NES cake a few months ago that turned out really cute, so go check that one out as well. And if you guys have any ideas for me, please let me know in the comment section. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye everybody.